This is the all-new Protech Duke 2. Let's take a quick overview look at this knife, and I'll give you my first impressions. This is the first variant of the Duke 2 that Protech has released under regular production. They've done a couple of really neat ones specifically for a couple of the blade shows earlier this year, but this is the first one that dealers were able to get under the regular production line. So it's got their standard black handle, and this one has a stone-washed Magna Cut blade. We'll get more into the specs of this knife in a little bit. Packaging-wise, it comes with the standard Protech packaging that you're used to, this little cardboard sleeve right here. Unfolds and you get your little pouch as well. Some cool information on the inside of the box. Nice packaging, but nothing too crazy here. This knife is definitely on the smaller side, so let me give you some size comparisons to other Protech knives that you know. Starting off with the classic, this is the Godson, and you can see it's definitely smaller than a Godson. Probably the closest size comparison that I have in stock right now is going to be the SBR, and you can see these two are actually fairly close in overall length, but the Duke is definitely a little bit slimmer. And then last but not least, my favorite Protech auto of all time is the TR3, and we'll give you kind of a comparison against the TR3. Definitely a smaller knife than the TR3 right here. So let's talk about the specs of this knife here. Starting off with the price, it is $190, which I think is actually a very solid price point for a Protech knife, especially considering the fact that it's got a Magna Cut blade. Blade length on this one is going to be 2.65 inches, so like I said, definitely on the smaller side. Overall length is 6.2 inches in total length. Again, the blade steel is in Magna Cut. 2.2 ounce weight on this guy, so it is a lightweight little guy, mostly thanks to the aluminum scales. And it is USA made, which is, of course, standard along the Protech lineup, but definitely worth mentioning. Sub $200 for a USA made switchblade in Magna Cut, I think is a pretty solid deal. So obviously, being on the small side, this is an everyday carry focused piece that is probably not going to be one that you're really beating on. Not that it couldn't handle it, but it's definitely not one of those, baton through a piece of firewood kind of knives. That being said, this is a super handy little everyday carry companion. It does fit in the fifth pocket depending on how big your pockets are, so you could carry it as a little backup knife if you wanted to. If you just wanted something to open packages, cut string, little tiny everyday carry tasks like that, this is a great option. The Duke also has some really cool heritage in the Protech lineup. This is one of Dave's original designs. I think the Runt was number 1 and this was number 2. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. But it's a really nice, kind of classy and iconic design from Protech. Keeps a lot of the original company DNA in this knife, and it's just overall really cool. Now, if you don't know how Protech operates, you might be thinking that this is a kind of a boring spec on this knife, and honestly, you might be right here. I do like Protech's just plain Jane configurations, but the good news with Protech is that they will do these in a bunch of different colors in the future. Basically, for dealers, Protech sends out a newsletter for dealers once a month, and they say, hey, here are the knives that we made this last month. Go ahead and order as many as you'd like, and then we will fulfill as many as we can. Protech does not make anything in large batches. In fact, I went back and looked at the quantity of knives that were made for this first run, and it was not very many at all. So even if you buy one of these plain Jane specs, you're still getting a knife that's actually fairly limited and fairly rare. But if this kind of spec is not for you, definitely stay tuned to our website because we will get more of these as they continue to roll out. They actually have in their Facebook group recently, they dropped a really cool kind of one-off spec, and they'll continue to do more of these. And the price point on them is pretty solid too, which will make these fairly collectible, I think. So this video is not intended to be an all-inclusive review. I've not actually carried one of these. I'm just the dealer. So we can break it down into a quick pros and cons list for you. Pros, I think the price point is really solid. $190 for a USA-made switchblade in Magna Cut. I think that's a good price any day of the week. Of course, you get Protech's super snappy action. That is always a pro. It is addictingly fidgety and really fun to play with. I think the blade shape here is a pro, very functional. Again, it's not crazy, but very functional. The deep carry pocket clip is also a pro. Protech does these very well. The screws are recessed. It doesn't hang up on your pocket at all. The weight here, the lightweight nature of this knife is definitely a pro. It carries very easily and very comfortably. The only con for me is that grip. It's like 3.5 fingers. It's not my preferred size. con for me might not be a con for you. The only other con with this specific one is that some people might not like the color, just because it's kind of a boring color. Again, I really like this Protech kind of plain Jane look, especially for a knife you're going to carry and use. These look really, really good with some patina. But again, some people might have different preferences. I also wish that this had one of Protech's cool inlaid buttons, but I'm sure we'll see that coming on future models as well. If this is a knife you're interested in, I have exactly one of them left on our website when I posted this video. Again, it's $190. It's available at springfieldedc.com, and we will throw a link in the description as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know in the comments as well what other knives you'd like to see an overview done of. Thank you for watching, and have a knife day.